pass their puberty test despite agreeing on 95% of things. Brother, this is the most like self-unaware take of all time. If we agree on 95% of things, then why the fuck have you spent the last month trying to get me and other prominent anti-Palestinian people deplatformed, including but not limited to literally calling Twitch a anti-Semitic neo-Nazi platform that deserves its own adpocalypse? Yeah, calling pro-Palestinian content creators who you know are not anti-Semitic terrorists who love doing terrorism propaganda is not exactly, I mean, it's not anyone else's fault at this point for making this assertion. Okay? Like, of course people are going to be like, okay, well, most of your output revolves around going after prominent pro-Palestinian content creators. So yeah, of course people are going to make that assessment. Inevitably, they're going to be like, okay, well, it kind of seems you misspoke and said anti-Palestinian. Oh, my bad. Wait, I just realized that people who are clip chimping you are literally sub to you while hate watching. Yeah, that's why I made it so that you have to subscribe to clip. Like, the reality of the matter is, if you don't want people to think of you as like someone who is anti-Palestinian, then, you know, focus your efforts on more productive battles. Okay?
More specifically,
I think that's a great point.
But like, should we go on it?
And more specifically,
it's kind of funny also because like the Try Guys were like, we work with the Try Guys doing the Palestinian charity. And I have not talked to them since, but I assume that they arrived at these conclusions by literally looking at Ethan's output. Okay? And if your output is basically saying that, like, one, guys like myself are gatekeeping genocide, okay? And two, the past month is literally just, you know, an endless battle of trying to deplatform someone who is very clearly pro-Palestine and also not anti-Semitic, then yeah, of course people are going to arrive at these conclusions. Like, I haven't talked to these guys. I haven't like poisoned the well or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's so crazy and so goddamn self-centered to just like center this fucking genocide around your own personal feelings, man. You can try to moralize it by saying, no, I'm actually engaging in a conquest of anti-Semitism rising. And there is truth to anti-Semitism rising, of course. But like, your output doesn't reflect that reality when most of your fucking markers and most of your targets are not anti-Semitic and you're literally claiming that they are. That's the problem. And people, and I don't know why. I don't know why he just like doesn't understand that, you know, your output is the reason why fucking people think you're crashing out and going crazy. Exactly. Do people normally endlessly harass people that 95% agree with? Do they team up with Nazi defenders and actual anti-Semites because they're upset? Yeah, exactly.
with Ethan, he is someone who, we're both Jewish guys. We have different views about Israel and Palestine. He has said some really wildly hateful things about Palestinian supporters. And so I have a disagreement with him in views. And I think that's a conversation we could have, even though he comes at it from a place of wild diatribes. But then, there's that question to audiences. Is it by even going on their platform or by platforming them, are you validating? And now you're shutting yourself away from those spaces. But if you shut yourself away from those spaces, then you're not able to talk to other people. I don't know the answer.
I don't know.
I think this is a very interesting conversation.
But this is exactly like Kamala doesn't go on Joe Rogan.
No, it
is. And by the way, it's exactly like that.
It's at least as close as we can get.
But it is, I think.
It's interesting how you say the same thing, but you say it as a brown person, so you're a terrorist. No, like, no, there are definitely There are definitely differences in opinion between me and maybe even other people who are, pro-Palestine. Everyone has a different method, okay? But like, for me, the only people that I have no charitability for are people who have demonstrated truly, openly anti-Semitic tendencies, okay? If you are the type of person that starts talking about the Talmud, or how, or if you are the type of person that literally pairs Israel with Judaism and Jews, okay, and then says like, yeah, Israel's doing a genocide because, that's just how Jews are, then yeah, I'm done. I'm done with you, okay? That's it. And it's ironic that I'm consistent on this, okay? Whether you are doing this in defense of Israel or whether you are doing this because you are an anti-Semite who wants to pair themselves up with anti-Zionist sentiments, I don't want anything to do with you. And that's the difference, okay? That's why I've routinely shit on Jake Shields and Dan Bilzerian and the like. Like, I've done that. And it's incredibly fucking frustrating to constantly have this back and forth, to constantly have this conversation over and over and over again. Okay? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, he literally said I was, going after low-hanging fruit because I shit on Myron from Fresh and Fit. That, like, the real anti-Semitism that I have to actually reckon with is my own personal community or something. And that's because members of my community that happen to be crossover fans of his, former fans of his, don't like the way that he has communicated throughout this goddamn genocide. That's it. And I tried to communicate this to him early on. I was like, look, dude, if you sound like Joe Biden, or if you sound like Ben Shapiro, okay, then yeah, people are gonna fucking think that you are like Joe Biden, Ben Shapiro, or Steven Crowder. If your output in defense of why Israelis don't see eye to eye on this issue is because you were like, no, you don't understand. 90% of Jews are Zionists. 90% of Jews are Zionists, and that also simultaneously there will never be peace in the region, and there cannot be a one-state solution, and that Jewish Voice for Peace are capos, and then you make fun of Aaron Bushnell and all of this stuff. Like, yeah, of course people that don't pay attention to anything else are going to see that and not give a fuck about what you have said formerly about Israel and Palestine. That's it. At a certain point, it comes across like, you don't really care about the actual significant conversations that need to be taking place, the actual significance of this genocide. Like, he literally, yeah, I mean, it is also incredibly narcissistic. That is the other part of this conversation. It's incredibly narcissistic that he thinks that the only reason why I'm calling out blatant Nazi rhetoric was to appease him. As though it's something that I secretly agree with. Like, what is the fucking implication? There's never been a moment where I've given charity to Fresh and Fit. Okay? And that's before I even found out about their, like, Holocaust denial and anti-Semitism. There was a shit ton of things that we don't agree on. We don't see eye to eye on. Okay? Anti-Semitism being yet another very glaringly obvious reason as to why we don't see the world in a similar fashion. And that's what's so fucking annoying about it. It's like, here, I'll give you a good example of this, okay? Myron is constantly in my fucking, in my replies being like, see, this is how the Jews are. They'll never accept you. That's why they'll never accept you. Because he also thinks I'm anti-Semitic secretly. He's a fucking idiot, okay? And I don't know how to communicate this to people. It's like, no, dude, we're not fucking allies, okay? We're not. I don't agree with you. I don't think that Israel's actions have anything to do with fucking Judaism at all, okay? It just doesn't. And people don't understand that. They like anti-Semitic people who present themselves as anti-Israel genuinely think that other people are also anti-Semitic just like they are, okay? And that they're secretly hiding their anti-Semitic tendencies because they're afraid of the media coming after them, okay? Like, it's so fucking stupid. Oh. He's like constantly, he's constantly in my fucking replies on Twitter being like, see, they're never going to stop coming after you. You should align with me. It's like, no, dumbass. I don't align with you because I don't agree with you. Like, in the simplest terms, I do not agree with you. Okay? I don't think it is truthful. Okay? I don't think it's truthful. I long for the day you don't have to address this bullshit every single stream. It sounds exhausting to say the least. I know. So fucking annoying. But I'm glad that he has some level of charitability for the Try Guys. Maybe they can actually get it across to Ethan that, like, consistently fucking making your output around Israel's genocide of Palestinians your own personal feelings because, like, 3 upvoted Reddit posts are hurting your fucking feelings, and then pairing that up with like real anti-Semitism rising as though you're on a moral crusade by putting the crosshairs on people who are not anti-Semitic that you are falsely smearing as anti-Semitic is obviously going to make people think that you're doing this to deliberately defend Israel and change the dynamic in the conversation. I understand that a big part of that is just pure narcissism, okay? I do. Narcissism, not knowing anything about the history of Israel, and just like probably mainlining fucking pro-Israeli propaganda on a regular basis will change your attitude quite a bit. Anyway. Holy fuck. Yeah, I don't want to align with actual anti-Semites, but he has no issue aligning with Islamophobes like D-Man or all the right-wing drama YouTubers who also have literally said a shit ton of anti-Semitic things too. It is ridiculous. Anyway, tying that back to, like, you know, real world news, senators who voted to approve arms sales to Israel this week who took over 3 times more money from pro-Israel donors than those who voted to block the sales. Nice political system we got here. Senators who approved arms sales to Israel got 3x more cash from pro-Israel donors. Median dollar accepted from pro-Israel donors in the 2024 election cycle. Just call him, go to his house, have a convo. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Take a week off. I'm not going to go to his house, you dumbass. My views on this stuff, for the record, have not changed at all. And Ethan knows my views on this because we've both privately and publicly conversed on this issue. So if you want to know what it would look like to have a conversation with Ethan, go back and watch the videos where I did have a conversation with Ethan on this exact issue. Okay? They exist. It's out there. Senators who approve weapon sales to Israel, 198,000 median dollar accepted from pro-Israel donors. Senators who voted to block weapon sales to Israel, 64,000. I like that they're, you know, both sides still got some, though. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, let's get back to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos sparring over Trump.
What is behind this feud that's going on between the two of them?
Well, they don't.
Do you see what CNN said about you? What does CNN say about me? Is there a new article or something? It's coming out. The Donny O'Sullivan piece is going to come out next week, next Tuesday, I believe.
Don't like each other. They never have. You know, this is sort of the great fight in tech before this happened. They're both in space. And so that's where it started, was this competition between SpaceX and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. And so they've always sort of, you know, tweaked back and forth of who the visionary is post Steve Jobs.
Right.
Let me just tell you, neither one of them. But they've been always trying to sort of vie for that. And mostly Jeff's been quiet, actually, comparatively. And Elon's a nonstop talker, obviously, can't stop saying something.
Right.
And, you know, I think this is unusual that Jeff responded, but he did, because they just don't like each other.
Right. I mean, it's the person. You just can't.
Well, not just that, they compete. You know, Jeff wants to really get some of these contracts, these space contracts. Elon obviously wants to dominate here and does.
Right. And he's the one sitting next to Trump on every single time, right?
Correct.
So what is Elon, I mean, what do you think Elon is after with Trump right now? I mean,
Money,
you know, he's
power. He wants contracts. Mm-hmm. He wants to have an input into things. He thinks he knows better. He does think, you know, at one point when I was interviewing him once, when Tesla was in trouble a little bit, and he said, if Tesla doesn't survive, humanity dies. That's literally what he said to me.
and he believes that.
I thought he did. I thought it was bizarre, but it was true. And so I really think he thinks he's here. You know, some people think he's like a video game player and he's Ready Player One. Not Trump, by the way, him. And so he really thinks he's contributing by being part of this.
So can I ask, well, there's a couple things I want to ask you in the context of what he's going to do in the administration. I mean, who knows how long it's going to last? Who knows what he's going to do? But he said that he's going to be running the Doge, which, of course, has the same acronym as his crypto, and the Department of Government Efficiency. So Marjorie Taylor Greene and Elon Musk. Did you ever think that would be a pair? But apparently it's going to be a pair, because Fox is reporting that she was just selected, Kara, to lead a House subcommittee that's going to work with
delivering.
Right, it's going to be the Congress part that's going to work with Doge, which means working with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, you know Elon Musk pretty well. How does that relationship pan out? Elon Musk and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I have no idea. I mean, both are very canny people. Let me tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever you think of her, is a very canny person. And so I don't know. I think they're both, I don't know how they're going to vie for attention and elbow each other out of the way of the cameras. That's one issue they both have. They love being in the center of attention. You know, I think the problem is, can they really pass this, or is this a lot of jazz hands and arm waving? And we'll see if they're able to do so.
So, you know what I find interesting on that? You know, a lot of people have a lot of admiration.
I like that the billionaires are duking it out on the timeline on who can suck Trump harder for those juicy contracts and juicy federal subsidies. It's great. What a profoundly successful political project we have. Okay? What an incredible political project we have. Okay? It's great. We're certainly a functioning democracy. No health care for you, okay? Nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Ain't no way.
Admiration for Elon Musk and things he's
Sure,
done. And a lot of people look at the
things
government
that are admirable.
Right, and they look at the government and they say, okay. And I know people are, you know, putting out messages on social media about hamster projects and, you know, in Ecuador, whatever. Okay. And then big ones like Medicare fraud. Right. And Elon Musk wanting to go out and use AI or whatever it is to identify and fix that is something a lot of people can get behind. But then he talks about getting rid of entire government agencies and coming in and saying everybody, you know, essentially, you know, you could get rid of a lot of the federal government. Ro Khanna said the other day, I think Elon's going to get frustrated fairly quickly.
Relatively quickly. The government's a big thing. It's not a company. Elon goes into these companies and he kicks trash cans and yells at everybody. That's, by the way, his style. And he doesn't
Literally
run them.
doing that.
Yes, he doesn't run everything so well. I was talking to Neuralink people, and they're like, we can't wait till he leaves because he's
the
so
brain
disruptive.
implant that's going to go.
Because, but he's great at being an entrepreneur and creating things. And one of the things he does well is disrupt and break. So he crashed, 90 rockets before he got the right one. NASA can't do that. Government can't do that. Government can't crash because it's not the same thing as running a company by fiat, which he does. And he does very well in a very aggressive way. And that's fine, but it doesn't work when it comes to government. You're always going to find the $600 toilet or the wrench that cost $1,000 that government has. That's a different issue. And I think just going in and cutting them, and that's his way, doesn't work in the public sector quite the same way it works in the private sector. Like this return to work thing is...
When he's saying, right, federal government,
have to come in.
Oh, God, I hate this. Okay.
We went from war to...
Joe Rogan hits back after criticism from The View, dragon believer. Okay, let's get to some real fucking news. Jesus Christ. No wonder people don't want to watch liberal media, man. This just sucks. I mean, everything sucks for the most part. And the coverage is not great. Okay? Elon and Trump are definitely doing it together. You think they're having gay sex?
Right. Basically, to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like dinosaur type of animals, roamed the earth when people did.
Rogan really leaning into this one by changing his ex-bio to quote dragon believer. Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, this is so up Joe Rogan's alley in terms of what he finds funny. To first of all be called a dragon believer, and also to be accused of being an unreliable source of information by the ladies of The View. So what is your reaction to all of this?
Oh, yes, Carly. We should absolutely trust The View and not the guy.
I mean, you guys want to understand something? This is the reason why Fox News' ratings are infinitely better than the liberal media ratings. Okay? Here's why. Because they're both talking about nonsense. Okay? But at least this is entertaining nonsense. Do you see what I mean? Like, the nonsense that we just watched on CNN is like the minor differences between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and how we should take these guys seriously, and how they're going to I don't know, possibly improve the federal government or maybe ruin it. Whereas these guys are just like, Joe Rogan, look at these dumbasses who say Joe Rogan believes in dragons. He only believes in dragons a little bit.
Guy who revolutionized the world with electric cars, SpaceX. I could go on with the accomplishments of Elon Musk. I have a question. Do stupid people get to a point in life where they realize that they're stupid? Because this is what panic sounds like in legacy media. I've said this before in this program. It's worth repeating again because it's so disturbing. The View is under the ABC News umbrella. ABC News is run by a woman named Dana Walden. Dana Walden is Kamala Harris's very best friend. They lived right near each other in Brentwood, California when she was a senator there. Dana Walden set up Kamala Harris on a blind date with Doug Emhoff, who she obviously is now married to. And now this is what the result is of Dana Walden running ABC News. You have people like Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg under the ABC News umbrella losing their mind.
I need to know. I need to actually dive deeper into this Joe Rogan dragon shit. We're in hell. We might as well enjoy it. Does anybody have the clip? Where did this Joe Rogan dragon stuff come from? Where is it coming from? Yahoo.com is the only article that's readily available for this important piece of news. Joe Rogan ups the ante with his View feud with evidence that dragons existed. That's not a sentence that makes much of... Joe Rogan is doubling